Hey everybody, Ben here for the Bonehead podcast, and we've got an awesome Kickstarter preview for you today. This is going live this week. It may even be live now as you're watching the video. This is the latest Kickstarter from MGPix. It is an entire dungeon. It is an STL Kickstarter, but it is awesome. We've had a chance to print and paint and play with some of the tiles, and we have had a fantastic time. Okay, so let's have a look at the Kickstarter preview right now. This is probably live by the time you're watching this video, but let's get rid of that feedback. It's too late for that. This is the Dungeon Lab Kickstarter from MGPix. We're going to scroll down and have a look. Now, I've got to say, normally we do a bit of a cover and we do some stuff for the Kickstarter, but they've done such a good job of everything themselves on the Kickstarter preview. That doesn't mean we haven't printed it out and tested it. We've done more than that. In fact, let's have a quick sneaky peek at what we've been working on. That's right, we made our display tray, we couldn't resist. And then we needed to make a dungeon. Now it's not quite finished, we've still got some paintwork to do, and you will absolutely see it on our Dungeon Bowl series. The final will be played in an MGPix 3D dungeon. But for now, let's have a look at the Kickstarter because it's genuinely so good. So, Kickstarter-wise, what you get is you get a series of tiles, you get a series of walls, you get a series of doors. There are gubbins as well, and there are stretch goals that fill out your dungeon with treasure chests and rats and things like that. But the core of this is the tile system and the underlying magnetic, but there's also a clip for people who are magnet averse. You're in the hobby though, it should be all about the magnets. So if you look at the Kickstarter page, you will see everything broken down. I've got to say, they've done a ridiculously good job of putting all the information out there from a Kickstarter point of view. They've done all the painted versions, they've given examples, it's amazing. But it is all about the undertile system. Now, Trips has got a plastic printer, so he has, as our 3D printing correspondent, printed out a series of the underlying tiles and magnetized them and put them together. So we will be able to have a look and see how that works. When we built our dungeon and when we built this lovely display tray for the Dungeon Bowl series, I used my resin printer. So I printed an entire dungeon out of resin, which was about 2 tubs of resin, but it was so worth it. And we glued it down to be fixed because I wanted it as a demonstration board for Blood Bowl, and I wanted it for Dungeon Bowl, and I wanted it to be a painted, finished piece of art, okay? But the undertiles are really clever. So the way it works is you've got the big undertiles, although you can print off different ones, and they've got these magnetic slots, so you can slap tiles on them, you can interchange tiles, and they've got either, as you can see demonstrated here, you've got the clips or you've got magnets that will hold the tiles together. So you don't have to print them out and build a specific dungeon or build just a display tray, as they have very, very happily demonstrated here. You can just put it together, move it around, build it up in segments, change bits out. Now, you can do that, and I knew that everybody else previewing this Kickstarter would be showing that off, and I knew that they had themselves shown it off here. So I wanted to do something different and print it out and glue it down and add terrain and add sand and add dust and add debris to build it up old school Wargamer style. But the whole point of this Kickstarter is that it comes as a set so that you can make it as modular as you want to. And look, you can see here, you're dropping bits in, you're taking bits out. Because of the way the tile system works, it clips into place really, really beautifully. Now, everything's supported. Some of it is better for resin, some of it is better for plastic. It really depends on what you want to do and how you want to invest. But you get so many different doors and tiles that it's just an outrageous amount. So they've done this really good job of demonstrating some Dungeon Bowl bits. So have we. And they've got Hero Quest and they've got all the tiles laid out. So I tell you what, let's have a quick look at Trips tiles. Okay, so Ian Triple Power Triplo, our 3D printing correspondent, has printed out some of the pieces in plastic, has added the magnets, has got the clips here, and has put together a very quick video for us demonstrating that the magnets are there. Now, we've printed this, we've had a look, we know it works. You've got the clips. If you want to go for the clip route, we've also got the magnet pieces there. Obviously, magnets are just awesome fun when you're building like flexible dungeons. If you want to go old school and glue it down, you can do that too. But as Trips is demonstrating, the clip works and it will keep it in place. But the whole point here is that you've got a magnetic dungeon system, and there you go. With a good enough magnet, you can shake it around a bit so you can build those rooms. And with every 2x2 section, you can flex whether you're going to have an 8x8 room, a T-junction, a corner junction, all of that with a very simple and incredibly flexible system. Okay, so to it, we've got the tiles. There is a bunch of individual tiles. Now, the way the system works is you've got the, well, they're 33 mil, I think, so they're perfect for Blood Bowl. But you've got individual tiles, you've got 2x2s, you've got 1x2s, everything you can see here. There is a very important piece to point out, and it's these half tiles here. So the wall segments and the door segments are all about 20 mil thick, so that when you are building them, in fact we can use this as a demonstration, when you are building the pieces, there will be a gap in between the tiles. So if we use this as the example piece, so that we've got a beautiful dungeon downstairs, you can see that tiles won't marry up. Now, when I built this display board, I didn't want that to be the case. I wasn't too fussed at all, because the whole point is that this spins with the team on, and it's great fun. But if you are building a dungeon, you will have to have essentially spacers, which are these little tiles up on the screen that you can print out. And on top of that, in fact, when we looked at Trip's video, you can see that they fit on those little half sections like this. And then you can add them in. So if you want to have a door there, if you want to have a wall there, you can just add them in, and it gives you even more flexibility, basically. So you get a ton of different dungeon tiles. You get the flagstones, you get the large stones, and they've done a beautiful job of painting them up. I mean, it's no work at all. They paint themselves, basically. Spray them black, spray them grey, have a dry brush. You're basically done. Now, there's a ton of different walls. Now, the great thing about these walls, as you can see here, is that they are not full walls. They are damaged walls, which means you've got a flexibility. You've got that visibility on the dungeon. And as you look at our dungeon board, that's what you need when you're playing. Because of the way that the tiles fit outside of that grid, you can fit a model with a large base onto that place, and they will have plenty of... Why am I using green models on a green screen? You'll have plenty of space to actually use those squares. If you've ever played or made your own Space Hulk board or dungeon board, if you stick a wall in a tile, what's going to happen is you are going to end up with less space to actually put your models on there. And this is for Blood Bowl, right? Or D&D or whatever. You're going to have monsters, you're going to have big guys, you're going to have minotaurs and trolls who are potentially a little bit larger. And it works. Now, there's a ton of different wall styles. There's a ton of different wall sizes. There's corner pieces as well. And, oh, I didn't see that. They've got overreaching tunnel pieces. Ooh, I didn't get those in my preview. Ooh, I could have printed those. That would have been wicked. And you get doors as well. Now, the doors are really cool. You've got different frames, and then you've got actual door pieces that you can select, which means you can have damaged doors, you can spread them around, you can have no doors at all. Now, we've gone with 2 square wide doors on our dungeon because it marries up with Dungeon Bowl, but you've got the 1 square wide ones as well. You've got cool portcullises and things like that. I never got a chance to see or print some of these. I'm sure they're in our preview pack, but there's so many STLs there that I was just like, I need to focus on printing 27 times to get all 70 tiles and all the walls and stuff. It was a very busy week. Okay, so they've done a brilliant job again here of demonstrating that it just folds down, and you can keep your painted pieces and you can build it up. Now, when it came to building our Dungeon Bowl board, which you're going to see fully painted in the final, we weren't too fussed about having it flexible because we're using set maps, and I love the set map that we're using, so actually that's what we did. But for future, just printing off tiles like this to be able to use for Dungeon Bowl, I think is just an absolute no-brainer, and I absolutely love it. What we can do is have a quick look at a few of the STLs. Okay, so I've just chucked a random selection of STLs in here because I don't feel like we really need to delve into this too much because the Kickstarter is very well represented, and just look at it, right? Okay, so here we've got basically an example of some of the files. Now, this is the 2x2 under tile. So you've got the slots in the side for the magnets so that they clip together like on Trip's video, and you've got the 4 magnets on the top so that the squares will just pop onto them. The squares have a magnet hole underneath which works perfectly, and because they are trying to save you resin or plastic, it's appropriately spaced out and gappy wherever possible. There is also a chunky boy of a 5x5 tile. Now, I don't know what kind of printer that would print on. I'm assuming a big plastic printer, and I'm assuming that I want to buy one because I like the idea of that, but not useful for me. But for resin, you've got the corner pieces there so that you've got it just clips in, and when you've got your magnets on the go, it will just snap into place, and it is a very satisfying snap into place too. We've got some of the dungeon tiles, so you can see underneath you've got holes for magnets in the doors, you've got holes for magnets in the floor tiles, and the whole point here is that they are interchangeable, so that, let's pop that up, probably about 5mm. They will slap on top without any difficulty. You just clip them into place, which we've seen on the Kickstarter itself. The doors are beautifully detailed, the walls are beautifully detailed, and they will fit on those half shells as well, and they will clip in, they will magnetize, and they will slap on the side. I printed all of my walls hollow to save resin, and it made it very affordable. I just drilled extra holes in the bottom to drain it through, and it worked beautifully. We should probably talk about the price of the Kickstarter. It's not very much at all. So as it stands on the preview, it's a €10 early bird for all of the STLs and all of the stretch goals. If you don't get the early bird, it's £15, and if you want the merchant license, not even £15, €15, and if you want the merchant license, it's $50. This is a very cool project, and I had an insanely fun time just printing the tiles. I'll put some whip photos at the end here, and I cannot wait to show the finished product off in our Dungeon Bowl final. But this is a genuinely brilliant system. If you're playing D&D, if you're playing any kind of Dungeon Bowl where you want to have stuff that looks like this on the pitch, just do it. 10 to 15 euros. And about 10 to 15 weeks of a reason to use your 3D printer. And then the stuff paints up, and it's so accessible. One thing I didn't mention is they've got these little holes in the doors and in the walls. There's a variety of different things. Now, the problem with the green screen is that I've painted these lanterns in green, a ghost fire green, which means that they are naturally completely invisible. But you've got skulls, you've got knockers, you've got flames, torches, everything. You can deck out your dungeon in so many different ways. This is like growing up, playing Dungeon Bowl, playing Hero Quest, wanting a dungeon. This is probably the best way to do it. There's a lot of other dungeon systems out there for you, and that's awesome. This one has magnets, it's simple, and it's beautiful, and I couldn't love it more. And now I've got my own dungeon, and I've only just begun to start printing this gear. Anyway, guys, go and back it now. I don't normally say that, but $15, €15, and I don't know. It's just such value. MGPix does such a great job. Absolutely love it. Right, go, Kickstarter, down there, click, follow, do the monies, support the project. I just cannot wait to see what they do next. Thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy printing. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to help support the channel even further, please like and subscribe, or come join us on our Patreon. We have early access to content. We get loads of feedback from you guys, and we try and do competitions as much as we can. Or you can get yourself some Bonehead podcast merch on our Spreadshirt site. So if you want to support a team, especially for the Bonehead Championship, you can pick up a shirt, a mug, things like that. It all helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. Anyway, links below. Thank you very much. Happy blocking.